The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, the Grand Lucayan Resort continuing to experience issues. Also straight ahead this evening, former Prime Minister Minnis explains the reasons behind many of his decisions or lack thereof as Prime Minister, and its temperature check. Wednesday, this evening's focus, the Anglerston constituency. Pull up a chair, called each candidate, have them watch and tune in so that they could hear for themselves what you all are thinking in Anglerston about them, whether it's the representative, the one that's in place right now, or some of the candidates. We will get into it this evening. Meanwhile, though, let's begin. Troubles continue for the Grand Lucayan Resort. Sources close to the matter tell us that the water supply at the property was shut off by the Grand Bahama Utility Company last week, as the government reportedly owes the Grand Bahama Utility Company almost $900,000. We understand that the utility company has made several attempts to receive payment from the government, but to no avail. The utility declined comment on the matter, and attempts to reach officials on the hefty bill were unsuccessful up to showtime. The future of the Grand Lucayan Resort, meanwhile, is back under the microscope as a labor payment dispute exposes deeper questions about oversight, accountability, and the true status of the stalled resort sale. While officials say the issue has been resolved, workers say they remain in limbo. Here's Janaea Noel.
Labor officials, along with other government agencies, locked in a dispute over the final payment figure for workers at the Grand Lucayan Resort. This as an estimated 40 employees remained on property, which has been closed to guests and dormant for months. Officials confirming that those employees had not been paid for more than 2 weeks, a situation they said stemmed from a disagreement over a final global payment for workers. According to officials, the hotel submitted one figure, while the Trade Union Congress President Obi Ferguson, acting on behalf of those employees, presented a higher amount.
It's one to think about the investors backing out at this stage. But if there was to be such an event occur, then that would be a significant blow to us, because it would mean that we would be starting the sale process all over again.
Chief Labor Consultant Bernard Evans confirming to Eyewitness News that the dispute has now been resolved. However, Evans could not confirm whether the government agreed to the amount submitted by Ferguson. Calls to Ferguson were not returned up to news time.
With all of the Grand Lucayan rooms out of service, that puts a serious dent in the number of rooms available for us to offer to visitors coming to the island, and that has a knock-on effect with all of the ancillary businesses that support tourism on Grand Bahama.
Evans also addressing concerns that some workers continue to receive pay while the resort remained closed. This amid claims of so-called double dipping, with some employees securing other employment. While he could not confirm those claims, Evans outlined the government's position on payment during the closure.
Surprised about the challenges. I'm just perturbed that it's been taking so long to resolve them. It is definitely a concern that they haven't been paid, I understand, for the last 3 weeks. And we call on everybody involved to ensure that this is remedied immediately.
And as questions continue to surround the future sale of the Grand Lucayan, Evans assuring that workers will remain a priority when the property reopens.
Well, that story continues to be, and that issue, as a matter of fact, as it relates to the Grand Lucayan Resort, continues to be a matter of focus, really, of concern. Now, the people in Grand Bahama say they are not necessarily worried at this point. What they want, though, of course, is for this resort to move forward, for if you're going to close it entirely to get the work started and done, get that done, versus this sort of limbo with the workers now saying they've not been paid in about 3 weeks. Nobody wants to be able to be performing a service and not in almost a month not receive payment. And then you all, here's something, the utility company that's attached to the Grand Bahama Port Authority is saying that the government owes them nearly $1 million for the water bill. I'm wondering where that $300+ million VAT where does that stand? Has that been resolved? And what's going on? It just questions all around, and tons of question marks, tons of sloppiness. And we're going to jump in right there this evening. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines contributors, Candace Scott. Oh gosh. Also, we have Peggy Candace. We have Glenroy Pratt and Howard Johnson. Good. Howard, you always have a little something up your sleeve, eh? It's always something we could expect. Good evening to you, Howard. Welcome, each of you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Good evening.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. Good evening, colleagues.
Good evening.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. Good evening, colleagues.
Absolutely. Good evening again to each of you. You all, this issue with Grand Bahama, the water was off last week. I imagine it sounds like it's been restored and reconnected. But the matter of these workers being paid, and then, as everybody's asking, it's been months now since that heads of agreement was signed. When will things get moving in the direction that everybody wants it to be headed in?
Shanique, once again, thank you for having me. Good evening, Bahamas. You know, I've said even with the last administration and the Auburn deal and that falling through, that everything these administrations, these leaders, whether it's the FNM or the PLP, are doing is in an effort to bring some economic relief to Grand Bahama and Grand Bahamians. And it is not their fault to the extent that these deals don't come through. But we have to give each administration credit for making some attempt, because it appears that there's a whole lot of people depending on this revival of this hotel. Mm-hmm. And I have to give both part administration credit for at least attempting to salvage some sale for this hotel. But personally, I think they should just shut it down.
Well, this particular property seemed to have more stories to it than a public library. There was a deal that was had, money was in the bank, it was sold. We all knew that it was sold, then come back later. No, it wasn't sold. Then we had a big fanfare about how it's now being sold and everything is going to happen. And then all of a sudden, we're not going to talk about it anymore until we are assured money in the bank. If money was in the bank then, and we're not talking about it until money in the bank now, was there some disappearing act that took place that the money now is no longer in the bank? It's just so many stories about this particular property that one has to question it. And obviously, the Bahamian people are frustrated, and they have a right to be frustrated over all the missteps and the statements that have been made about this particular property. And now they're seemingly left holding the bag with vacant rooms and nothing to show for it.
Yeah, Shanique, I think at this point, it pains me to say, but I think it's okay to say that this particular project appears to be in some jeopardy at this time. I mean, since May, when we had all of the fanfare and the announcements, nothing substantial has happened. This place is in limbo and it is dormant. It is definitely lying dormant. And it begs the question, do we need to change the way that we do foreign direct investment into the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? Now, we know political parties, when they become the government, of course, the Bahamas is a tourist destination. Developments are going to be front and center in spurring economic activity in the country. We understand that. But what we have to do is we have to ensure that we balance wanting to create jobs and economic activity so that we can reap a political benefit, but it comes at the expense of getting persons who are selling us dreams, snake oil salesmen salesmen in some cases, and who cannot deliver what we need to make said economic activity a success. So I think the government has to look at it. And the last thing I'll say about this is, when we look at this, there are no PLPs or FNMs that we are talking about, or COIs, who are hurt by this. These people are employees and they are Bahamians. We have had 2 administrations that have tried to do something with this property over the last 9 years, and it has been an abysmal failure. Now, I'm not focusing all of my attention on the government of the day or the previous one. That plays a role. When you are driving the bus, it is your responsibility. However, we have to look at how we do foreign direct investment into this country, and we need to make some changes.
But let's talk about what Grand Bahama, because Grand Bahama doesn't seem to be this real tourism mecca. There's a room for tourism, obviously, but Grand Bahama obviously has to be rebranded differently. What do you all think is the real solution to help that economy flourish and thrive again? Because I remember when I visited, and they talked about the various, I guess, pharmaceutical companies and industrial hubs with, and this was, I think, maybe in the 80s or so, and 90s, and it was, Grand Bahama was just amazing. The economy was robust. What needs to happen now to kind of give it a new face, but still be the center and the hub for those very things that will keep the economy where it always was and even thriving more?
One of the things that tourism is still a major industry, right? And obviously I know some people want to go away from that, but the reality is tourism is $1 trillion industry. The only challenge is that people have to recognize that people fall in love with destinations because the destination presents something that is unique to the destination. We as a country need to identify ourselves in this market and show who we are as a people, so people could fall in love with us as a people. But before that even happens, we have to fall in love with ourselves as a people, so much so that when we produce an opportunity for people to come and visit us, they want to see us and touch and feel, and they want to see what this vibrancy and all this love and all this kind of jovial kind of experience that these Bahamians enjoy amongst each other. And then they will come to our shores. And that is how we need to change and transform Grand Bahama. Not only that, there are other opportunities. We have the waters and all the other stuff. We can do so many different things.
It's quite the nature hub, yes.
It is very nature friendly. And so if we can find ourselves trying to promote it in a way that we have, listen, across the world there are people interested in nature, promote it to those individuals. Find something that is unique that they would find attractive. Talk about how the people, the friendliness and all this other stuff, we have to build it. We have to do it. We have to be focused on it. But I also wouldn't give the current administration a free pass, because they're the ones who asked for the keys for the house. And they're the ones who said all sorts of things about the fact of how they're going to transform and change this particular hotel.
And we're still waiting. That's the thing. We're still waiting for that transformation. We're still waiting for any answer to happen, and any real sort of movement to begin happening on that property, including demolition. And that'll look good. And people will be like, well, whoa.
But they started the demolition.
They did a window.
But they patched it back up. I remember.
Well, they did.
Yes.
I don't know what they did.
Yes, they tore it down and they put it back.
Listen, Glenroy, you sure are you being mischievous? Listen,
I'm telling you what happened. It's a video there.
Wow. So listen, you all. Former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis is not sitting idly by. In fact, he is really doing something that's quite unique. It's not been done anywhere by either former MPs or prime ministers in the country. I imagine maybe even in the region. He's actually going on social media in response to many videos that he has put out there, and many people are enjoying them, in fact. And some people are being quite harsh and aren't holding their words or opinions, but he's answering them. Here's something how he answered just last night. I think that I glimpsed this, and I'm like, I have to show the nation about explaining some of the decisions he made and why.
When I sat in the seat, I faced 3 catastrophic events. Immediately Irma, followed by Dorian, and then the pandemic. As a doctor, my number 1 priority was saving lives. In addition to the 3 catastrophic events, in that many people were involved in breaking the laws, dishonest activity, corrupt activities, which pose a threat to their lives, So I had to deal with that to ensure that I saved them from themselves. We did not want to follow the same pattern as we saw with Brazil, Italy, and others, where there were mass graves, individuals being buried by the thousands. Can you imagine that happening here? So I had to deal with those matters. They took priority over many other things I would have loved to do to benefit, especially the average Bahamian.
Well, I tell you again, very brave. This is something, brave. Listen to me, but very brave. I tell you that. So listen, you know what, Prime Minister Davis, perhaps, why not? But listen, no. So that that answer was someone said, "Man, you're talking about we must get together and fund the hospital and build the hospital." Well, first of all, where were these ideas when you were Prime Minister? And who can really pool their resources when people are trying to grapple with other things? But you heard him what he answered. I think it is just. It doesn't happen in the Bahamas or even the region. I've not seen it where a former prime minister or former member of parliament says, you know what, sure, put the tough questions to me. I'll answer. Your thoughts, panelists?
This was the leader that the people wanted when he was prime minister, and I've read comments and agree with those comments that where was this guy? I've been reading them too. Yeah, where was this guy when he was in leadership? Where was his love for the mic and social media when he was in leadership? And so it is like he's trying, and I enjoy his videos myself, he's trying to recover his relationship with the people. But the people still remember, it is still fresh in many Bahamians' mind, what the decisions that they felt were bad decisions, not in their best interest. And a lot of them still have a bitter taste in their mouth. And I must commend him for the effort he's making. But had he done this in leadership, the results probably would have been a little different now.
Yeah, Dr. Menace didn't, he didn't have the best personality and the best communication style when he was the prime minister. But I must give him respect, and I must tip my hat to the fact about what he's saying. These are real things. These things were happening, and they were unprecedented, not just in the Bahamas, but across the globe, especially with the pandemic. The hurricanes were very destructive, and he had a trifecta of issues confronting him and his government. And so you see both sides of it. The missteps were made and also the unprecedented events. Dr. Menace is doing a yeoman's job. We're trying to rehab his image. You can't fault a man. You can't fault a man in a country that says that we are a Christian nation for trying to get himself redeemed. Redemption is the cornerstone of our Christian faith. Dr. Menace is attempting to redeem himself. So you have to give the man that, and he is communicating out there with Bahamians. So kudos to him for that. But I think that this guy should have showed up 5, 6, 7 years ago. But people need to stop trying to create a boogeyman. Everything that happens politically and in the Bahamas, in our culture, we love creating a boogeyman, and Dr. Menace just happened to be the boogeyman for his time, and so we'll see what happens.
Glenroy, you have 2 seconds.
No, I agree with everybody. You ever been in pain and then somebody try to talk to you about what you're feeling? You don't want to hear it. And that's the reality of what it was when the country was facing what it was facing. He had to make the tough decisions, damned if you do, damned if you don't. He made the decisions, many lives are saved, and as a result, we have a thriving economy and people are still alive.
Listen, but we are just getting started here on Beyond the Headlines. I would love to read this about Grand Bahama, because it is an issue that many people don't understand. We just rooting for Grand Bahama to happen, right? But listen, you all, temperature check, it's coming up next. We're looking in tonight on Anglerston. Beyond the Headlines is back right after this.
Rejuvenate, refresh, treat yourself. Immerse yourself in total comfort. Pamper yourself. After all, you're worth it. Relax. Rid yourself of all life's stresses. at Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa. You will find everything you need to enhance your body and spirit. Call today at 323-6711 and begin your journey to serenity at Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa.
Welcome to Sunburst Super Christmas Sale, where you buy 5 and get 1 free. Prices start at just $28.95 for top quality wall paints and high gloss oil paints for $55.95 a gallon. Lucky customers get a chance to win a 42-inch TV every Saturday starting now. The drawing will take place at Sunburst Paints the first week of December. You can also have a chance to win one of 2 65-inch TVs during the month of December. So hurry on down to Sunburst Paints on Harold Road, where you buy 5 and get 1 free. Happy holidays, everybody! Have you heard about Janae's Chesapeake Road's 5 days of Christmas give back? Get up to 20% off your toys or bicycles, electronic ride-on cars, four-wheelers, and motor tricycle purchases. All electrical item sales are final. Bring in a current year Janae's back-to-school purchase receipt, valued more than $50 excluding VAT, and get an additional 10% off. Restrictions apply. And don't forget the Christmas decorations, balls, and ornaments. Janae's Chesapeake Road's 5 days of Christmas give back going on now. Extended store hours till 7 p.m. Hurry in and get more bang for your bucks.
'Twas the night before Christmas. The stage was set. Big Bang arrived. The biggest yet. Fantasy 5 flashing. Those 5 balls glow. Quick draw. Lotto making winners flow. The island erupting. The cheers grow bigger. Santa laughed out loud. Our balls are bigger. From Moneyland's heart, the truth was clear. At Island Luck, winners live here.
It's an island luck Christmas. Joys in the air. Jackpots are rising. Right there. There's luck everywhere. No snow on the ground. Just sunshine and cheer. It's an island luck Christmas. Best time of year.
Big Bang, December 20th. See you there.
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you all tuned in. Listen now, you all buckle up, sit down, and let's get started. As you all see, Gabrielle is not here. Glenroy, I think you fit in quite nicely. I don't know. She may not have a spot to come back to. That's all I'm saying. But listen, welcome back, panelists. Peggy Candace, Glenroy Pratt, Howard Johnson. This evening, you all on temperature check. By the way, this is, let's see, make it nice, you all, because you know we wrapping. This is like we come back in January as we continue. And here's you all. Let me just tell you what temperature check is about. It's assessing the performance of perhaps the incumbents. It's about looking at candidates and truly, not with their opinion, a bit perhaps, but what each of them have done. They have searched social media. They have called and spoken with, went to the constituencies to hear what the people are saying about the individuals, whether they be independent or belonging to a political organization. This is what they do, and this is what temperature check is about, with the hopes of helping you better see the person that you are looking at, have an understanding of their vision, what they're doing, the fact that they're working, they're impactful and effective, or not. And so this evening, welcome to Temperature Check. We are looking at the constituency of Anglerston. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we begin with the Coalition of Independents candidate, Faith Presenti. There she is, the first person in all three. And so they, in the order in which we're going to speak about them, Faith Presenti, Heather McDonald for the Free National Movement, and of course the incumbent and the PLP standard bearer, you all know her, Glenys Hannah Martin. And so let's begin, Peggy Glenroy Howard, with Faith Presenti. What have you been able to discover and find out in Anglerston about Faith Presenti?
I guess the silence means that nothing. No, I mean, from my little investigation, I have heard that a lot of people still don't know who she is. And obviously, I'm sure that she has been reaching people and trying to touch them on a daily basis. And I know sometimes it's very difficult with any person canvassing an area where people are going to work and doing what
but
they
I
need
heard
to
that
do.
they are very active on social media. I heard the three of them are.
Yeah, well, social media is one means to reach the Bahamian people, but you can't reach everybody via that means because not everybody is social media friendly or you know, in tune. So you have to try at every stage. And we are a touch, feel, and taste society. And if the people are saying they don't know her, then that means she needs to get on the ground and get on the ground pretty fast. But I guess there's still faith.
Nice play of words. So, Shanique, I will have to apologize to you as those who invited me and your viewers, because this week I did not even make an effort because I've been getting cussed out and all the other things whenever I post a picture of COI or make a comment about COI. And so tonight I will be cussed for my silence.
What? Cussed out why though?
They're very sensitive. Don't use this picture. Use this picture. Call me. Don't call me. You're coming for me. Someone coming in a video, coming out the bush. Oh, they coming for me. And yeah. It's like always somebody is out to get them. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they comprehend the power and the privilege of this show. Because if you cooperate, if you have information out there about yourself, we are actually giving you free promotion. We're talking about you, and we don't want to talk down about you. We want to have something to talk about you in the positive. But if there is nothing there, don't get mad if I say no.
You know, before you speak, Howard, I want to say no MP or candidate have any idea, or political organization for that matter, of what I will talk about or which constituency I will look at each week. None of them do. They're not informed. But after each week, though, I have had F&Ms tell me that, listen, you know what? I thought it was balanced enough. Thank you. And yes, I will perhaps tighten my bootstraps here and there and do the next. I've had PLP call and say, Shanique, wait a minute. No, hold on, Shanique. Wait. This, that, the next. You all overlook this. You all overlook that. Or, you know what? Okay, fine. I know how to move forward. This is where it's been, because it's not me doing a friend a favor or me reaching out to them and say, give me this, give me that. No. The panelists, not Shanique, the panelists, they go out, whether it's through, so a combination of both. In fact, what they do is a number of things: research, social media, and reach out to various polling divisions and individuals, family or friends, to be able to find out about these candidates. And that's what they do, and that's what I've asked them to do. And I stay out of everything, except only thing I do is decide, guys, this week we're looking at Anglerston. And so I think it's just very unfortunate, but I'll continue this because I'll tell you this. Even today, moving about, people are saying how much they're enjoying Temperature Check, and I thank you all for watching. I thank you because it's meant to be informative. It's meant to scrutinize the performance of sitting members of parliament, those who are offering themselves. It's meant to do all of that. It's meant to be a temperature gauge and check on constituencies around this nation as we head towards 2026 and the election, the general election. Howard, go on.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly say, Shanique, that when you're running for office, whether it's the COI, PLP, F&M, Independents, when you're running for office, you're not just running to represent. You're also running to, you're in a people-facing position as a candidate. If you begin to represent, if you form yourself into a government. And so approaching people with hatred and with all of this bad attitude and cussing people out and stuff, that's not something that's going to get you to the finish line of trying to form a government and trying to represent people. Whatever you think about Peggy or anybody else, they are Bahamians, and these are the people who you need to go and ask for their votes. But on to Ms. Presenti, right? or Reverend Percenti, as I found out that she is a minister of the gospel and a former welfare officer, I believe, in social services. Ms. Percenti just 2 days ago released a community empowerment and development plan, which I believe underscores her run in the community. She wants to establish community chancellors for dealing with the polling divisions. She wants a land for legacy project. She wants to create a fun dome, a hydroponics and agri-tech farming industry, a community crime archive, and also a community garden food market. So she has some stuff out there. So anybody who wants to see that, they can go online on her page, and she's out there. I also saw on her social media page, she was doing some cleanup stuff in the
Okay, so
Anglerston
she's been, because I
community as
wanted
well.
to ask you, has she been active though? It's good to have these plans, but are some of these in motion?
Yes.
So she has been doing.
So I've seen some cleanup with her and others on her team out there, and I've also seen a little bit of the canvassing around.
Okay.
So yes, the persons that I've spoken to have not seen a few persons that I've third party spoken to. I have some cousins and some friends who hang out in those communities with them boys, and so they said that they have not seen Miss Reverend Percenti or Pastor Percenti. But there's one thing I want to say to wrap this up, right? Reverend Percenti also ran in this community for the COI in 2021.
Okay.
And she was able to garner 5.46% of the votes, which was 163 votes. And so she's gonna have an insurmountable.
So then she's no stranger to Anglerston. And
No.
so any of the programs and the vision that she shared has she implemented any one of those in any meaningful way?
Well, I don't think so, because this was just released 2 days ago. So I stand corrected, but I just saw this from 2 days ago. But the greater point I want to make is to get from 5% to the 75% of the votes, and I don't want to, preempt myself for Mrs. Hannah Martin, is an insurmountable climb. And so I am hoping that she understands that these things need to go to the implementation phase in order for her to get from 5% to 75%.
Yes, yeah,
to win this seat.
Absolutely, but but obviously it's good to hear that she is no stranger to the
Yes.
Anglerston. So I'm sure people know her as she continues to move about. Let's you all move on to. I think she's a first timer and a newcomer to politics, certainly to Anglerston. Heather MacDonald of the Free National Movement. What have you all been able to find out about her?
Okay, so Ms. MacDonald, like you say, a newcomer to frontline politics, but not a newcomer to politics. Has been very active in the Free National Movement. She's a life coach, a motivational speaker, talk shows host, an entrepreneur, youth officer, philanthropist. She's also the PR officer for the Bahamas national chapter of women, Caribbean Women in Leadership. She's their PR officer. So I mean, in a community level, on a social level, she's been very active. I also know, I'm aware that she was participated in previous general election in the PR position for the Free National Movement. She is one of the new faces. Michael Pintar labeled them the next generation of leaders within the Free National Movement. I'm aware that she has been on the ground. She has been on the ground canvassing and talking. One point I want to point out that she's from born in Grand Bahama, but she's fitting well, doing what she needs to be done for her to get herself out there in Anglerston. It is a brave move, I have to use that word, but she is doing it, and I think it's going to give her a good opportunity if she has chosen politics for our future. This right here is good grounds to get her feet wet and to get the experience needed as a national leader.
So she went in there, she's going in there like, hey, listen, I am here and I mean business. That's how she went into Anglerston.
When she gave a speech add ratification. She's very respectful. She gave respect to our senior woman that I called Miss Glenanna's mother. And she said she is not there to challenge in a disrespectful way, but to offer herself. And that was greatly appreciated by everybody.
Now, what is she doing, though, besides being energetic and being, I guess, obviously speaking impressively and bringing that energy? What has Heather McDonald done? And all three of you, and Peggy, if you found out, you can lead off. But what has she done in terms of something tangible? Because I'll tell you, this election is about what people could touch, feel, and see.
Yeah, I mean, in my investigations, I discovered that she has already had 2 back-to-school programs over the last several years. She's working now on a 3rd Christmas giveaway that's coming up. This weekend? This weekend. Okay. She's been actively involved in some of the schools in the constituency. She's visited C.H. Reeves, has supported some of the students in C.H. Reeves with books, as they are in dire needs of books, the grade 7, 8th, and 9th graders in particular, because they can't, frankly, afford textbooks. And one of the challenges that she's discovered in the area is that a lot of people in the area have a struggle relative to resources. And so that is a challenge in that constituency. One of the things she's also been doing is working with the different schools in the constituency, along with the different pastors in the constituency, and just touching the people in that sense. Over the last several months and years, because she's been actively engaged in the constituency by trying to touch the people, she's been discovering there have been a lot of, and I understand, there's a lot of foreign nationals in the constituency. Mm-hmm. Some are documented and some are not documented. Mm-hmm. And so while she's trying to reach out to some people, there are some challenges I am understanding relative to their ability to speak the language, and in some cases not registered. The other thing is in Anglerston. In Anglerston, because Anglerston apparently has almost the same amount of people inside the Golden Isles constituency, some 7,000.
It's a huge constituency.
Out of the 7,000, only 4,000 are actually registered. And there are some instances where some of the people, and a lot of people in that constituency, are frankly turned off, I'm understanding, about the whole electoral process. Some people have frankly given up. Because if you look at the Anglerston constituency, it seems as if they have been forgotten. They have not been changed and transformed over the last several years. No strike against Glenasana Martin, but it seems like all our inner city communities have such challenge. And so what needs to happen now, in my view, from what she's trying to do, is build up the community from an internal perspective so people could see themselves in a different fashion, so much so that they can be elevated. That's what I understand her platform is, and trying to change the temperature of the people and ensure that they see themselves in a certain fashion, and also demand more from the government as it relates to how they elevate the whole constituency and bring it to a new level.
When we come back, we will hear from Howard Johnson on Heather McDonald, the Free National Movement's candidate, and of course we will look at the incumbent, Glenasana Martin of the Progressive Liberal Party. This is Temperature Check on Beyond the Headlines. We're going to take a break and come back right after this.
Fly fishing for me is kind of a way of life. My father was one of the pioneers that started the fly fishing industry.
I grew up around the industry, but it was mostly spin fishing until the invention of the fly that changed the whole fly fishing industry as we know it today.
Well, fly fishing, in my opinion, is an art form that subscribes to artificially inducing a fish to take a lure.
It's fishing, but it's more like hunting than anything else.
So it is hunting, one aspect of it is, and the second of it is creating a lure that you are imitating that is of the environment.
You're actually stimulating the bite by them visually seeing the actual lure that you're sending to them.
Crazy Charlie is the fly that revolutionized, as we know, the saltwater fly fishing industry. It was invented by my father. He recalls seeing the bonefish chasing a little bait fish called a minnow. He took a couple chicken feathers and some bead eyes of a military tag, and that was the beginning of the advancement of saltwater fly fishing industry on the flats as we know it today. The importance of that fly allow you to be able to fish for bonefish in various depths of water.
Captain Rupert Lead, my dad, who's also a pioneer in the industry, his fly was called the gotcha fly, and it emulates two things: the minnows which is a small bait fish, and also a shrimp pattern. See, there's so many legends that I'm now standing on. Percy Dowell, Ivan Nemo, who would have passed, Raymond Mackey, you've got Sidney Nemore, Carl Moxie. These guys were filled with knowledge. They were self-imposed scientists. They saw these fish act in a certain way, and they know how to target them on specific tides. I feel extremely proud to carry the baton on, knowing that I can actually teach other youngsters how to carry the mantra, and they themselves can pass it on to other generations.
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. This is Temperature Check. Of course, we are wrapping up the season with Anglerston. I tell you, have you been watching so far? What are your thoughts about what everybody is saying about Anglerston? We talked about the Coalition of Independence candidate, Faith Presenti. We spoke about, and still actually speaking about, the FNM's candidate, Heather McDonald. We are still to get to the Progressive Liberal Party's candidate, Glenys Hannah Martin. But we're going to go to Howard Johnson right now. Howard, listen, come right back in here. And I know you want to jump in of what it is that you have been able to hear, understand, and learn of what Heather McDonald is doing in Anglerston.
Yes, and Glenroy did an excellent job of outlining exactly what she's been doing as far as the work in the community and nationally as well, because Heather is also the Deputy Secretary General of the Free National Movement. So she's a national party officer. So Heather, her reach is far and wide. But she has been doing those things in the community. And so I want to focus on her campaigning. Heather has been canvassing in that community. This young woman, I had the pleasure of meeting her about 10 years ago through a mutual friend. She's very approachable. She loves people and she loves a challenge. Heather wanted this constituency. You hear me? Heather McDonald wanted to run in this constituency against the giant that is Glenys Hannah Martin. And that speaks volumes to her personality, her strength, and who she is, and she is giving it her all. So she has a challenge again, just like Miss Presenti, because when you look at the numbers, my cousin Quentin Presenti, who last represented for the FNM, was only able to garner 16.6% of the votes, and that was far behind the winner. And so Heather has much work to do to overcome those significant odds. But I know this young woman, and I know that she is going to give it her all, and that is why she continues to touch up the road and beat the ground in Anglerston going door to door.
Well, speaking of touching up the road and beating the ground, I'll tell you this, and this, I've been driving this narrative now all of this election season, and I will continue straight to election day. What every constituency, what is the most wealthy constituency right now, we can say?
Wealthy.
What every constituency, including Killarney, wants is someone who will uplift the community and those who are the voting majority, or those who vote, everyone, every and anyone, right? Truly, that's important. I thank you very much for participating in tonight's show. Everybody who's watching, and your comments, I'll try to get to one or two of them. Here's it. None of what they're talking about, meaning the panelists, is what legislators do. Your guests are describing the role of community organizers. Correct. And you're right. Ain't nobody, listen, correct. I could what go and figure out. No, well, I could go.
That is correct.
Because I'll tell you though.
But we live in the Bahamas.
Notice how politics is morphing in the Bahamas. Are you all not watching this politics right here? Mm-hmm. This political season is showing that you would better come with your vision. Your vision had better be working. I'm talking from the word go, right. not when you are elected. From the moment you step in there, particularly if you are a ratified candidate, right. Then your vision had better be in motion.
Yeah, what that person is speaking to is the facts of what an MP role is a legislator, right?
Yeah,
but
primarily.
That's the primary responsibility. Mm-hmm. But we haven't grown to that level yet holistically.
I think we're getting there.
We need to, because obviously there are laws that are in place that either causes us to gain wealth or causes our wealth to be taken away from us or stifle our growth and opportunities. That is the larger issue. But until we get there, these are the steps that needs to take place. And something Howard mentioned, the fact that Heather is a people's person, I'm sure Glennis is as well. And I'm sure there's other lady as well, Faith Persetti. You have to be a people's person. Mm-hmm. And unless anybody who wants to come to the fore be a people's person, you're wasting your time.
You must like people. See that something, mate? You must like people.
Yeah,
but listen, you all listen. We've got to get to the Progressive Liberal Party's candidate, Glennis Hannah Martin. She's an incumbent. I'm not sure how long she's served in Anglerston, but she is not new to the area as well. In fact, quite, I guess, known, quite frankly, throughout the area because she's served and been re-elected there several times. There she is there, the third person, if you're looking from left to right. What have you all been able to discover about Glennis Hannah Martin?
Well, we know.
And how is she looking even ahead of 2026?
Mm-hmm. Glennis Hannah Martin is, I believe, taking a stand, holding her grounds in Anglerston. She's accessible, regular constituency hours open, office is open from Monday to Friday. She has weekly meetings and communications with our constituents. She promotes education, giving donations to different schools within a constituency. She also have a uniform program at the beginning of school. When it comes to community matters, she's overseeing the development and redevelopment of the parks. I understand that there's one park outstanding with the bathrooms, and that work is about to be begun. And people say, why are you talking about that level? Because these things are important to communities, parks and the roads, and supporting programs for the communities, providing tools for your young people to get into trade. She does all of these things. I understand.
So what you mean, having, like, for example, like a BTVI, for example?
Well, if you want to, say you want to go into carpentry, she supply young men with tools to get them started in their various fields in her constituency. She also, I understand, has a food pantry where she have people who need to go and get feed, and people say, "Oh, teach us how to fish," but you gotta be full too.
Well, see, and that's the thing and that's why I said even in Killarney they have their needs that are so different than Anglerston, for example. And so I want to hear what she's doing to try and bring those people up.
Yeah, and then there's one thing that really stood out to me, and I hope a cooperative. She is
cooperative
for the residents, and it's a full cooperative grocery wherein they come together and they buy food and they sell it at no interest. They sell it at cost.
They sell to each other,
to the community.
So they purchase
in bulk and sell at. And so, from my understanding that she's going through the legal channel, and this is a program that is getting started and that she see for the future. One of the biggest mistakes some make is, I don't know if it's intentionally, but when you talk down to the constituents of Anglerston and saying, oh, you only want this and you only want that. You have to meet people where they are and empower them and then elevate them. You can teach a person to fish, but if they starve to death, they can fall down on the fishing rocks. And so you have to meet people and work with them. She's developed program. I know for a fact that the World Cleanup Day, she sponsored that and she's a part of that, and it is done in Anglerston. And so she's working there. She's accessible and she's well loved for what she do with the people.
Glenroy?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of these things have been happening in the Anglerston constituency, and obviously, you know, I think it's good, but you know, I wonder again, you know, with the longevity that she's been in the constituency, is it enough? Is it to the level that now it transformed the constituency? There's sometimes you can be doing everything that you can, but you just can't hit or take it to the next level. And the question is there. You know, because there are still some things that you ride in the constituency, you can see some things. Some of the people, I understand, feel a certain way about certain things. And like I said
what
earlier,
are they feeling?
some of them have frankly given up on the whole electoral process. They don't care who coming in to talk about voting for who or whatever, because they are frankly feeling that nobody really cares about them.
That voter apathy is around, and I want us to discuss it because during the break we had a heated exchange talking about, you see, we've got to want to step up as well to go and get that plate of food. Not because you providing the food, you got to bring it here. And I'm not speaking on Anglerston. I mean, around this nation, just about, is that kind of attitude. But Glenroy, continue if you...
Well, one of the things I heard Peggy said, and I agree to some extent as well, when you said you got to meet people where they are. But sometimes we got to take people from where they are. You know, sometimes we got to see them from where they need to be. And sometimes when you, again, this is why loving people is so important when you're talking about going in there and representing them. You have to now present an idea and a vision that they can glean themselves to and see that they could be attached to, so much so that they can see better. Sometimes our people are only struggling because they haven't been exposed to much. And that is the responsibility of any leader, to expose people to a point that they can desire more and transform themselves to become better and greater than who they really are. So when you as a constituent candidate goes into those areas, you have to have that drive, that energy, that vigor, that vitality, you know, and rush in and bring about a change. Because guess what? At the end of the day, we cannot afford to ignore our neighbors, because your neighbor problem becomes your problem. And one of the problems right now in the Anglerston constituency is a rat infestation, I understand too. And one of those rat infestation is actually at the R. Bailey School. That's something that needs to be addressed.
Nasty. Howard?
Yes. Shanique, Mrs. Hannah Martin has been the Member of Parliament for Anglerston since 2002. She is now rounding out her 5th consecutive term, and she is also the longest serving female Member of Parliament in the history of the Bahamas. Last election, Mrs. Hannah Martin won with 75% of the votes. She garnered over 2,200 votes, and her F&M opponent mustered up a little over 600 votes. So Mrs. Hannah Martin, and while I'm saying those things, and you may say it might not have anything to do with what the outcome will be in 2026, we can only look at the reality of what is. Mrs. Hannah Martin is going to be extremely difficult to beat in a constituency that is one of the bastions of the PLP's support.
Remember Barry Christie?
And no, hold on. And now here's the difference. I'm glad you said that.
Howard, the jingle has been playing for a minute now.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So Heather McDonald with that has 2 differences with Reese Chipman. The difference is Reese Chipman is from that community. His family heritage and lineage was in that Centerville community. And also the next thing was that the wave swept them out because of anti-Christie sentiment.
Exactly.
I don't see that sentiment there towards Prime Minister Davis at the moment right now.
Thank you for
and
saying
Heather's tentacles aren't as deep as Reese's were to overcome that giant, in my opinion.
Okay, very, very quickly, Glenroy, this is a part of the temperature check. Is Anglerston right now tonight leaning PLP, leaning F&M, or leaning COI?
I think Anglerston is confused in the sense that,
Hurry up,
not
hurry,
the
hurry,
people
hurry.
are confused, but I think that they are at a place right now that they are not sure because they're sick and tired and fed up of business
Glenroy,
as usual.
okay, good. That's it. Peggy, quickly.
PLP.
Howard, quickly.
PLP.
By the way, we didn't get to Golden Gates. It's Golden Gates leading PLP, F&M, or COI right now?
PLP.
PLP.
I gotta say
They're
PLP.
confusing.
I gotta say PLP on that.
Listen to me. I thank you all so much. We never have enough time. Never. We never have enough time to get to temperature check. But listen, I am so happy for the amazing start to temperature check. We're going to be, really getting into it by the grace of God. Listen, right?
2026.
In 2026 for sure. And we invite you right along, okay? Listen, come hang out. This contain's going to get real tight. But I thank you so much, Peggy, Glenroy, and Howard. Thank you very much. And thank you to all of you for tuning in this evening and your comments, your participation. We welcome it in 2026 on this segment for sure. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team and Temperature Check team, I'm Shanique Miller. Everyone have a wonderful evening.